What up, New York Giant Nation and football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan. I'm here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. And y'all know what time it is. It's time for that real deal NFC East round up. Punch that intro. Good evening, everybody out there. What is going on? How y'all feeling today, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. How you feeling today, Adam?
I'm feeling good. Another week in the books. Every time I think about what week it is and how many more weeks we have left, it just is like, wow, it's, next thing you know, we're already headed into week 3.
Yes, indeed. This week's the season's already cruising by, man. I feel like it's gonna be fucking Super Bowl soon, man. Already, man. It seems like it's going by so fast, man.
Yeah, a lot of
What's,
things
what,
I have on the horizon, like a lot of dates coming up, and I'm like, wait, that's only 2 weeks away. Wait, that's only 3 weeks away.
what's going on in the chat, man? No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Appreciate you stopping in, man. As always, bro. I appreciate you, man. Philly B, my guy, man. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for posting the links earlier too, man. Appreciate you, my brother. AK, what's good, brother? How you feeling, man? Hope you having a great day, AK, man. Make sure y'all sub up to my guy, AK, man. Yo, at a NFL reality check. But let's get right to it, man. Let's dive on in, man. Let's go back to Thursday, revisit Thursday night football a little bit, man. Minnesota Vikings, man, took on the Philadelphia Eagles in an interesting matchup between two powerhouse teams from a year ago, and they're not both powerhouses anymore. Minnesota Vikings are kind of falling off that cliff, and Philadelphia Eagles are they're 2-0, but listening to some of their fan base, couldn't tell, man, because there's this 2-0 team that some of their fans don't seem to be quite satisfied with their 2-0 status right now, man. How you feeling about the Philadelphia Eagles right now?
They're 2-0. They're top of the division, and I mean, listen, they want perfection. It's not crazy out the gate. I understand. You know what they're feeling is sometimes I feel similar in my thought process, but they're 2-0 in a game that was, they kind of controlled the game most of the game, right? And there were some turnovers that could have helped the Vikings that didn't. The Justin Jefferson fumble out of the end zone, that's a big play that gets overlooked a little bit because if he scores that touchdown, the game might be tied. But it's one of those things where the Eagles got up early, they did what they needed to do, and then the Vikings had to have a furious comeback to do it. And you see what happens. We have a good defense, and you have a team that's knows how to control the clock a little bit better. These guys don't have a chance to come back. So I think it was a little too late for Kirk Cousins. If they had this, I think that play with Justin Jefferson really was a momentum swing in the game. So we'll see what happens. They got a couple big games on the docket. Week 5, I think they play the San Francisco 49ers, and then they also play Dallas as well. So everything. I mean, you have 10 days. They got a lot of guys healed early on. Remember, they're learning a new defensive system. They're learning the play callers, not the plays, the play callers' cadence, right? Gus Johnson, I think is his name. If I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's their new play caller who went from being, being Jalen Hurts' quarterback coach to now his play caller. And that's a different tone. That's why I always got frustrated with the Giants and Pat Shermer, because they would have, all week Mike Shula would call plays, and then they would get to the game and that would be Pat Shermer calling plays. And sometimes while your quarterback and coach are listening, sometimes that's a different dynamic. You start to build a rapport with your quarterback's coach and your offensive coordinator, and all of a sudden now it's a different guy in their headset. So here he has to learn the cadence of he's controlling the whole offense. He's getting the plays in. He's got to now mix and match and kind of understand when to call certain things. He knows what plays work best for Jalen Hurst, but now he has to know when to call those plays. It's different than talking to him on the sideline and saying, "Hey, remember you need to correct this, correct that." Now you have to control the whole team, make sure everything's going. You can't solely focus on the offense. So there's an adjustment period. Defensively, you're starting to see the inner workings of learning the defensive presence. Right. Again, new play caller, not necessarily a different system, but think of it like this: you're doing a job. Someone comes in and now tells you if you go 1, 2, 3 is what you used to know, and that used to do whatever code. Now 1, 2, 3 means something totally different, right? Same concept, same keyboard you're looking at, same kind of screen, same kind of idea, but they're changing up the terminology a little bit. I think they'll get their sea legs about them. Remember, they had 70 sacks. They still have a good line. I mean, Jalen Carter looked good. Jordan Davis looked good. Zach Cunningham's all over the field. So.
Yeah, I'll get to this comment real quick from NFL Reality Check. It says our offense isn't stellar, but we do have an offensive line to fall on. Brian Johnson, his name is Brian Johnson.
Sorry.
Brian Johnson has not been perfect, but he is learning. He just needs to learn a little faster because our pass game is suspect at the moment. See, I don't know. See, my feeling with the Philadelphia Eagles is, granted, right now, and before coming to the season, I had them at the top of the NFC in my NFC power rankings. I had them at the top, looking down on everybody else. And right now, currently after 2 weeks, I kind of don't. I don't have them quite up there right now. I do kind of have them down at 3 right now in the 3 spot. But the thing is about this Philadelphia Eagles team that I actually respect and think that they're showing how good they actually are is because they've been faced with a lot of adversity these first 2 weeks of the season, and yet the good teams, the great teams, they still figure out a way to weather those storms, and this is what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. I mean, their offense last year looked like a video game offense, kind of, so to speak, and this season they're having to just figure out different ways, at least through these first couple of weeks, figuring out different ways to get it done. And for instance, in this game, I mean, you could say the offense isn't stellar, but to me, 259 yards on the ground is stellar. That is stellar to me. That is absolutely what you're talking about. You know what I mean? You can get that kind of production from your run game. I mean, that it might not be the prettiest, but it's pretty damn amazing. DeAndre Swift had a hell of a game against the.
I'm glad you brought him up. I'm glad
against the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, 175 yards on the ground on 28 carries. When's the last time you seen a Philadelphia Eagle running back get 28 carries in a game? That's already new territory for the Philadelphia Eagles in general, So I think it might not look as pretty as it did a year ago, but at the end of the day, it's still pretty damn effective, and they're getting the job done, and they're showing why they're still a really legit football team and why they are still going to be a force to be reckoned with throughout this whole season. And I can't wait to start getting some of these premier matchups between like them and the Cowboys and them and the 49ers, because those are going to be games to see right there. So, I mean, I just think that you just got to, I think you guys got a little spoiled last year with how beautiful it all looked every week, throwing the ball over the yard and just passing the ball over the place. But I think this year you're just finding ways to get just a little more gritty this year. You know what I mean? Like your Flyers mascot, getting gritty with it. You know what I mean? You just gotta. So I think, just relax a little bit, Eagle fans, man. You're still a good football team. And you're 2-0 at the end of the day. You're still sitting at the top of the division right now, 2-0. Not a lot of teams are still undefeated right now. I mean, you're one of however many teams are still left at 2-0 right now, and I think this is a Philadelphia Eagles. They just got, like I said, you got to calm down a little bit. You got to say you're just doing it a little different. You're just doing it a little finding different ways to get it done this year.
I don't necessarily think they need to per se tone it down. I mean, it's like a rich person complaining about having too much money, I guess, right? But at the end of the day, they can do what they want. It's their team. The one thing I will say is DeAndre Swift is a back that will put them over the top. To me, he is what I call a Super Bowl back. What do I mean by that? Sure, they had Miles Sanders. He's now with the Panthers, but this guy is so dynamic and changes the offense. When you see him run, he goes to the hole, and as soon as As soon as he sees the defense creep, he looks for that cutback lane and boom, squirts out the other side of the line. So, and with the way that their run blocking line goes, there's going to be a lot of holes. Think of Le'Veon Bell, a little different than Le'Veon Bell because Le'Veon Bell was like I call him a shuffler. He used to kind of wait, and see what hole would go. Then he would pick it. This guy is more of a looking for the cutback every time. And he runs downhill. He runs between the tackles. He's got speed. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think, right now the Eagles are on the right track. They took care of business. Like you said, good teams find a way to win, right? Even if they're not the greatest, they find a way to win. And to me, that's how you have to do it. That's how you do it when you play your B game and you still can beat a team who has to now raise the bar to get on your level. That's when you know you're a good team.
What's going on, Chad? Thank you for stopping in, bro. Appreciate you coming through, checking us out, man.
And I think their defense will come around. I mean, you're seeing flashes of Jalen Carter. You're seeing flashes of Jordan Davis. Like I said, Zach Cunningham was a great late addition signing to their team. He's really helped their middle linebacking core. Their defensive backs will be coming back soon. So I just think as they progress throughout the year and throughout the season, they're going to get better, and we'll see what happens.
Well, even with defensively, I think it's not that they're obviously still playing pretty damn good on that side of the ball too. I think what it is this team flourished so much a year ago. You can't expect those kind of numbers again. Like the sack numbers from a year ago, that's not all that realistic to think you're going to come back out and get like another 70 sacks again, put together something like that again. I mean, that's just it. You can still be very productive, and it's just not going to have those like record breaking, numbers like you had a year ago. It's just not. That's not like something you can expect anybody to just maintain and continue to do. It's good, even like I said, this as talented as this roster it still is. Couldn't really truly expect this team to come back out and have four guys double digit sacks and like I said, like 70 or however many sacks they had this season ago. It's just not something that's not necessarily sustainable consistently. At the end of the day, winning is what matters, and there's like I always keep saying, there ain't no damn style points in the standings, man. A win is a win, a loss is a loss, and it don't matter how much it's by or how much you lose by. It's still gonna just go down as one W or one L. You know what I mean? And right now, the Eagles 2-0 and looking pretty damn good, and still looking like a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, they're still one of the top teams in the NFC. I have no doubt about
it. Absolutely. It's a learning process. They are still learning. It's a new team from last year. We are going to have rough times. It is what it is. But that's the point. Like I said, it hasn't been the prettiest. But at the end of the day, even when the going gets rough, you guys have found a way to win both of these first two games, which both of them were in situations during the game where you could have lost these football games. And the difference between a good team and a bad team. Guys are a good team, and you're still finding a way to get it done and get that W. And that's what matters the most at the end of the day is getting that win, man. Like I said, it hasn't been pretty by no means. Been tested both the first two games by teams that look like they're probably going into this season. Most people thought you would just go ahead and be off to a real easy 2-0. But then you had to work a little harder for it. But at the end of the day, you still are 2-0. And that's definitely what matters the most. But you got any more on this Minnesota Philadelphia game, Adam?
Not much more. I think they handled their business. It's more of an indictment on Minnesota not being able to stop them. They had some stops but couldn't capitalize, and their season is who knows where their season's going. But Philadelphia off to a hot start. That's what you need, especially with the couple teams that are in the NFC fighting for that top spot.
Most definitely. And moving to week 3, the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football, first part of the doubleheader on Monday Night Football. Or the earlier start game. It's not really what necessarily called a doubleheader. Yeah, it's 2 Monday night games again. Yep. The Eagles at the 7 o'clock one.
Damn it.
And I don't know what's going on with that. But Eagles and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the battle of the undefeateds. Who would have thought that? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting at 2-0, man. Who would have thought that? 3 teams in that NFC South sitting at 2-0 right now. Who would have thought that at all, man?
Right.
But the the Buccaneers are definitely one of them, and they hosting the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. Man, how do you see this one playing out, Adam?
It's going to be an interesting matchup. You know, if I were to pick an upset, this would be the one. Not just because not because I don't believe the Eagles can win, can't destroy this team, but I think the Bucs are playing at a level where they're going to have competency, right? Mike Evans is that guy. He's a good player, a very good player.
Huge game.
Shouldn't just call him a good player. He's a Hall of Fame player. And Baker Mayfield's playing the best football of his life. Their offensive line is protecting well enough, and I think they have a chance, if anything, to take advantage. If they look at what the Vikings did, the Vikings still hung 28 points on them. There'll be a chance to score some points. So, yes, NFL reality check. You did call Tampa Bay being good. And I think their defense is plays pretty well, too. They have Devin White. It looks like he's back healthy again. Levon David's out there playing well. So, you got a lot of good things going for Tampa Bay. Who'd have thought, right? Who thought they would be there? We thought they would be tanking for Caleb Williams, and it turns out they're fighting for first place in their division right now. So I think there's a formidable chance that they can play this game. I think the Eagles have a chance, obviously, but it'll be tough with the way they're playing right now. They're coming in with a hot team. Baker Mayfield's playing hot. He had coming off one of his best games to date. And so we'll see. We'll see if the Eagles pass rush can get to him, cause a little disruption, and things of that nature. I feel like the Eagles Eagles always are deadly. I don't know. This is going to be one of those good tests because we don't know who Tampa Bay really is yet. And this is one of those tests that you get. This is one of those litmus tests that you get to really check out and say, okay, are they for real? How are they going to play? And they get to be on a marquee stage. Who'd have thought this game would be, one of the highlights of the weekend?
Well, I mean, we're here week 3, and this is definitely going to be the biggest test thus far for Baker Mayfield and this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, and they get to show if they are for real or if they're just frauds. You know what I mean? Because you can say how people can look at the scheduling, say how they want Minnesota, Chicago, probably not the most impressive of victories, so to speak. But Minnesota was a playoff team from a year ago, to defending NFC North champions. So that's still somewhat of a credible win week 1. I think a lot of people had Minnesota winning that football game for the most part. And Tampa Bay proved all those people wrong, myself included. I was one that thought Minnesota was going to knock them off week 1.
As did I.
But at the end of the day, Tampa Bay is playing inspired football. Mike Evans coming off of just amazing, a huge day. Mike Evans, 6 catches for 171 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's just what the kind of thing Mike Evans does, and I think that's going to be something to look at here is him testing that Eagle secondary out there, man. And if he can get off, him and Chris Godwin can kind of get something going because I think they're going to have a hard time probably getting the ground game going, even though they're going to have to still go to it and try to see what they can get if they can get anything going. But I'm not sure. Again, Baker Mayfield. We'll see, man. He's got an Eagle pass rush that's going to be getting after it. So we'll see how he holds up against that pressure.
He wants his commercials back. That's kind of funny.
If he wants to keep his NFL life.
Yeah, right. His life is on life support. I think he wants the checks to keep coming in. You know what I mean? More than the commercials. But, Tampa Bay is an interesting story. One of those ones that this is what the NFL season's about. You never know who might pop up late in week 3. This game we probably thought would have been a laugher and may not even tune in, and now here we are. That's like I said, going to be one of the highlights of the weekend as they are atop their division. As
2 undefeated teams,
right,
on Monday Night Football. So
Monday Night Football can't get any better than that, right? They pay for Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. They're not even going to get Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, but they're going to be on Monday Night Football where it is. They used to be really bad games. Now you're getting a couple good ones. This one on Monday night with the Steelers in Cleveland was pretty good. I'm sure this will be good. The Carolina game went down to the wire with New Orleans, so that was a good game. So I look for it to be maybe a 1-score game, a close game in the fourth quarter, and we'll see, what defense takes over.
That sounds pretty. I mean, pretty much what it comes down to, man. I think that's what it's going to come down. I mean, both these offenses have been, been getting it done different ways, but they've been getting it done, and it's going to come. I think it's going to come down who can make those key defensive stops, and I think that's honestly. I personally think that's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles here. I think this is a great test, like I said, to see where Tampa Bay is. But I think they're gonna prove that they're not quite a match for the cream of the crop in the NFC right here. This is the week, man, because the Eagles are definitely amongst the cream of the crop in the NFC conference. So,
Well, they are the cream of the crop. They are the creme de la creme. They are the defending NFC champions.
well, they are, but I'm basing off of what we've seen the first couple weeks of the season, and I don't necessarily feel that quite that way, right? Like I said, I moved them down a notch since the first 2 weeks of the season. Now down to I got them at number 3 in the NFC conference myself personally, but that could all change. I mean, that can all change. Obviously, just like I said, either way, it's still the same. With 3 teams I'm talking about, and they're all the cream of the crop in the NFC right now. If you, in my humble of opinions, and we'll be talking about another one of those teams in a few minutes. But I'm making you blush, AK man. Appreciate it, bro. And thanks for stopping in, Willie Vassar. He says he got the Giants over the Niners, 21-14. That is interesting. I hope you are right, brother. I really would appreciate if that came true, but we're talking about that a little later too. But any more thoughts on this matchup on Monday Night Football between the Buccaneers and the Eagles,
No, it
man?
should be a good game. It should be one of those good, fun games on Monday night.
I agree, man. This is definitely, like you said, you looked at the schedule earlier ahead of time a couple weeks ago. You probably back, you're like, why you got this game on Monday Night Football? You know what I mean? Like the damn Buccaneers. But they
It
are
is.
not the Yucks. They are the Bucks. So they are, like I said, playing inspired football, man. Much better than a lot of people, myself included, expected them to be. So we'll see. It should be interesting, man. It should be interesting. Let's go Buccaneers, man. We need that upset, baby. Because we sitting at the bottom of the division right now. We need to catch up. So we'll see what happens, man. But we will now move on to a game that was supposed to be like game of the week type status, and then week 1, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, and it took a whole lot of the luster off, a lot of the shine off of this game, and as you see, it ended up being quite the clunker. And this Dallas Cowboys team, man, whoo-wee! This team is legit, man. This team is absolutely legit. This defense has given up only 10 points through 2 weeks. That is pretty impressive. And the Jets offense, I mean, even though it's led by Zach Wilson now, still they got some other pieces on there. Definitely nothing to sneeze at. And the Cowboys pretty much shut them down too, almost as much as they shut the New York Giants offense down. So, what you feel about this game, man? How you talk about it, Adam?
Man, the Cowboys came out and railroaded the Jets. Again, like you said, I couldn't have put it any better. It was a marquee matchup. I would have loved to have seen them with Aaron Rodgers to see what they did. I was hoping the Jets defense would hold them up a little bit. But again, the Cowboys score, like I told people, 27 points a game. That's what they do. Guess what? They fell on that 30-point mark once again. Against the Giants, their offense scored 27 points. So here they are with 30 against another team with a better defense. And Dak Prescott was 31 of 38, efficient, 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a stark contrast to what he had against the Giants, where he was coming out getting the sea legs about him, but absolutely had a good game, bounce back game. Tony Pollard's getting 25 carries, having 72 yards. CeeDee Lamb showed up in the stat sheet again, as did Garrett Wilson for the Jets. Garrett Wilson's that guy. He is that good. Doesn't matter who you put out there for him. He's that good. CeeDee Lamb, again, showing you why he's the number 1 in Dallas. So, there's some good stuff here. So, Zach Wilson had 3 interceptions. That's never a good thing. So they turned him over 3 times. Let's see how many sacks they got. They gave up 3 sacks, so the offensive line wasn't so much a sieve. They punted 5 times. The Jets, they lost a fumble and had 3 interceptions. 4 turnovers will do that to you. That will be your kiss of death. Not to mention the Cowboys had 42 minutes of time of possession. They ran for 134 yards. Straight domination across the board, offensively and defensively. The Cowboys are looking like a team that could be fighting for the top spot. We could arguably be saying, San Francisco, Dallas, Philadelphia, one of those 3 teams headed to the Super Bowl, and 2 out of those 3 teams probably in the NFC Championship game. That's how good Dallas is playing right now. Their offense coming to life is scary. Next week they have the Cardinals. That's going to be a fucking blip on the radar screen. Cowboys are legit,
Maybe,
man.
maybe.
Absolutely.
You
Maybe.
never know what happens in the NFL.
Here.
You just
Get
never
out of
know.
here.
You never
Get
know
out
what
of
happens in the NFL, man. That's why it's the NFL, man.
Look. I'm not even going to entertain that thought. If the Cowboys are going to beat the brakes off the Cardinals, man. Come on.
I mean, you would like to think so. We would all like to think so. But NFL, weird things happen in the NFL, man.
And it's the marquee
Weird.
matchup of the afternoon, so they're going to be on display again.
Well, these Dallas Cowboys, man, look, this is crazy because I had to just sit there and say all those nice things about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Now you
Who,
have to say nice
but
things about the Cowboys.
but this Dallas Cowboys team, man, look, like I said when I did my NFC power rankings, initially the Eagles were at the top before the season. Like I said, I got them down to 3 after 2 weeks now. But I got Dallas at the top. And not only do I have Dallas at the top of the NFC power rankings, I got Dallas at the top of the NFL power rankings. This is, to me, right now, through 2 weeks of football, the best team in the NFL right now through 2 weeks of football. This Dallas Cowboy team has looked absolutely dominant on both sides of the football. And just to me, there's nothing that you can't say anything really bad about this football team right now. The defense is playing absolute lights out, as you just mentioned. The statistics numbers they put up against this Jets team on Sunday, the numbers they put up against the Giants the week before. I mean,
Didn't we
like
have
I said,
over under 15 turnovers? They have 7 in 2 games.
they've only given up 10 points through 2 weeks, man. Through 8 quarters of football right now, Dallas Cowboys have only surrendered 10 points, and then like you said, they got the Cardinals on Sunday, so
Right.
that could be another potential shutout or at least a score like this.
In 2
You
games, their
know,
defensive average is 5 points a game. Right now, their defense in 2 games is letting up what would be an average of 5 points a game. You got to divide it over the 2 games, even though they only scored 10 points in the one game. 5 points a game right now. Arizona, their team, I'm not even, I don't want to know what's going to happen to them on Sunday.
I mean, we'll see. Like I said, and if weird things happen in the NFL, I don't actually expect anything crazy to happen in this game, but you never know. You never know. Plus,
Joshua Dobbs,
you gotta
Joshua
have a little
Dobbs
bit of
got
hope. You
rise
got to have a
reactions.
you got to have a little bit of hope that somebody can do some of the dirty work for you that you couldn't get done yourself.
Okay,
So
well, next week when we play the Patriots, it gives me a better shot than the Arizona team that just collapsed and gave up 31 points in the last 2 quarters of football.
but I know that happened. I mean, that happened, but
Our
but
offense couldn't do things for 4.5 quarters. This team comes out, they're going to fucking poop 30 points. I don't know if they'll have that by halftime.
But you just gotta just have a little bit of hope and see, man. I said this as far as this Dallas Jets game. It started off like it was possibly going to be somewhat of a competitive game too, in the sense the early going in this game. But then the Cowboys just got on a roll and just ran and just was a
Well,
steamroller, man. And it
three
just
turnovers.
the
Three
Jets,
turnovers.
yeah, Jets never recovered, man, from those turnovers, man. That just completely changed the dynamic of this game. You
I
mentioned
was
Garrett Wilson,
surprised that their
and
defense gave up 30 points. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer and give the Jets a fighting chance, but it's hard to do when you give up 4 turnovers. That kind of dejects your defense. And, not having Aaron Rodgers, emotionally coming down, I expected them to get beat up, but not like this.
I mean, you can't. I mean, you mentioned Garrett Wilson earlier, but at the end of the day, and this is probably. I mean, I put a lot of this on quarterback play, obviously, but he's a superstar. He's absolutely the phenomenal talent, man. 2 catches, granted for 83 yards, it's not nearly enough, especially when it's on 8 targets. That means you missed them 6 times. Somewhere I didn't see every play of the game, so I don't know what those misses were. If they were overthrows, if they were just bad passes. I don't think they could. I can't imagine they were drops. At least not. And And then Zach Wilson can't be your leading rusher. That can't happen either. You got to get the ball to your running backs. You got Dalvin Cook, you got Brees Hall, you got Michael Carter. You got
How does he only get 4 carries? How does Brees
that's
Hall get
three
4 carries?
accomplished guys. Yeah, that's three accomplished guys. Three guys that have proven to be able to tote that rock in this league. And you can't have Zach Wilson leading the way in rushing, man. And with the most carries on top of that. Yeah, you can't. That can't be a thing. So Jets, get y'all life together. Cowboys. That was another great
I
performance
feel
by
worse,
Dallas
right? Because
Cowboys.
we're Giant fans, and we couldn't score a damn point against our rival, right? And they come in with probably a worse quarterback situation and a worse offense than we have, and they score 10 points somehow. So it's terrible.
Well, the one was the long bomb. He threw that one pretty pass, that one long touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson. That was pretty. By the way, I did happen to catch that. Thanks for coming in, Wells. Appreciate you, bro. But yeah, this Dallas Cowboy team, like I said, they're not to me not even just the best in the NFC through 2 weeks. They're the best in the NFL through 2 weeks, and that's saying a lot because there are some pretty talented football teams. We were just talking about one, the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll be talking about one in a little bit in the 49ers as well, and just other teams in the AFC. But I think right now the Cowboys are standing at the top of the NFL right now after 2 weeks until somebody knocks them down or slows them down, because right now they are looking like a steamroller ready to just run over top of this entire league this season. But they are the Cowboys. They always find a way to fall apart. Don't let me down this year, Dallas. Don't let me
Wow.
down.
You said, don't let me down this year, Dallas. We want them to let us down, damn it.
No, I mean, but that's what I mean. Don't let us down. Fall apart like you always do. Don't let me
Uh-oh.
down.
I think Mac might have some shekels on this team. That's why he's like, no, don't let him down. Oh, man. Anyways.
It happens when it rains, people get wet. Buns from belly. That's what's up, man. No mess, no nest, no jets with the belly reference, man. Oh, boy. Let's go ahead and move on. Who's Dallas playing? We just talked about that. The Arizona Cardinals. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't. Any chance for the Arizona Cardinals here, Adam?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know what the schedule makers were thinking when they put this game at 425. Even if they had Kyler Murray, I still don't know what they're thinking. But man, they just collapsed against the Giants. Collapsed against the Giants, and you expect me to believe that they're gonna put Cooper Rush in by the third quarter? That's what's gonna happen. Cooper Rush is going to be in there in the third quarter. They're just going to, cruise in there. I don't even know. Dak Prescott will have a couple touchdowns in the beginning of the game, and the game will be so far out of reach that they're just going to turn around and, I mean, come on. I don't think they have a snowball chance in hell of doing much in that game.
Not a snowball chance in hell. I mean, they're out in the desert. They're at home on their home field, out in the friendly confines of whatever the hell their stadium is.
Chance in hell. I have a better chance of having my hair that's curly being straight than they do of winning this football game. Okay.
Willie Vassar says it's not going to happen with Mike McCarthy calling plays. Kellen Moore, Jason Garrett is gone. I mean, I don't think it would happen with Jason Garrett or Kellen Moore calling the plays either, bro.
Listen, the Arizona Cardinals have Joshua Dobbs as their starting quarterback. He was there 3 weeks before the season started. He's not playing the Giant defense on Sunday. He's playing the Cowboy defense on Sunday. You can get away with a lot of the stuff you did against the Giant defense. You can't get away with a lot of that stuff against the Cowboy defense. The Cowboys will be suffering. Look what they did to the Jets, who have arguably a better situation in terms of skill players than the Arizona Cardinals. And yet they held that team to 10 points.
There's no argument at all there.
I'm just saying,
at all from there.
James Conner will not be the Terminator running through this offense. I would be surprised that game is not a laugher by halftime. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but they gave up 28 points in 2 minutes of a game to a team that is far less talented offensively than the Cowboys coming in. So,
well, I mean, you did bring up an interesting name there, James Conner. That guy is still running pretty damn tough, pretty hard, and that to me is the only chance the Arizona Cardinals would have in this game is to find a way to get James Conner going on the ground. similar to how he was in the first half of the game on Sunday against the New York Giants. I think they have to try to commit to it. They have to try to stick with it, and they have to try to make it work because that Cowboys pass rush will be coming and will be coming fast and furious. And I can't imagine that Mr. Josh Dobbs is going to have much of an answer for that Cowboy pass rush. It is much more fierce than that of the New York Giants one that he faced this past Sunday. So I just think that's their really only legit chance in this game to possibly pull off what would be one of the biggest upsets of probably this whole season. If they can find a way to get James Conner going early, often, and it has to be effective.
Trust me.
But
They're not playing no heat in that stadium. Okay, they got a nice AC dome. They not got nothing to worry about. Okay, the next thing is James Conner. The only reason James Conner is going to be there is so they don't get shut out. They may be able to get in the field goal range, but man, wow. Like Willie Vassar says, if we get up on, I guess he's a Cowboy fan. If we get up on Arizona, it's over. If you score a touchdown against Arizona, it's probably over. And maybe even a damn field goal. I mean, at this point, you're giving up 5 points a game. Look, I know it's an NFL squad out there, but we're talking about the extreme top and the extreme bottom of the NFC conference, probably of the NFL. I mean, let's be real. The Cardinals are going to have 2 first-round picks. They're going to have their own and the Texans, so they could be 1 and 2 in the draft this year.
Yeah, that's craziness. That's actually legitimately possible too for them. But this is. I want to hope that the Arizona can channel some kind of inner energy and somehow pull this amazing upset off. But I can't say it with a straight face. I can't. And I can't expect it. What I expect is, a la Week 1, the Cowboys' backup players to get significant fourth quarter work here, as their starters will be done by the day in the fourth quarter of this football game.
I'm expecting 3 sacks from Micah Parsons, at least 3 sacks from Micah Parsons.
I would not be surprised if something like that, if it played out like that, because like I said. Yeah, Arizona Cardinals O-line appeared to hold up for the most part against the New York Giant pass rush, but that's nothing compared to what the Dallas Cowboys are bringing out there. That's absolutely nothing in comparison. So
the offensive line of the Cardinals was terrible, and now they're facing a pass. Last week was the worst pass rush they'll face probably all year. The worst pass rush. This is arguably the best pass rush they'll face all year. And if I am the Arizona Cardinals, I'm getting the rookie some reps, that Clayton Terhune kid, or whatever his name is, get him some reps, because Joshua Dobbs may be in a body bag before the game is over.
That's a possibility, man. Like I said, so just to get this on the record, so you're saying the Cowboys are going to win?
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm definitely in agreement with you on that one. I believe that there is no real chance.
I mean, if they had Kyler Murray, maybe you could say, okay, they have a slight chance to score some points. But they have Joshua Dobbs, who doesn't even have any eyebrows, fucking not going to score any damn points against If they score points, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be upset because we couldn't score any points. I would just look back and say, how do we get shut out so badly? And if the Arizona Cardinals score any amount of points against the Cowboys this week, it's over.
Well, yeah, you're right. I don't know what to say about that. I don't even have a rebuttal for that. You're right. It'll be disappointing if they can score points and we couldn't.
Imagine that.
But what's up with the Bears facility getting raided by the FBI? Oh shit! I didn't hear anything about that.
There's pending stuff happening in the Bears facility. Unfortunately, this is an NFC East roundup show and not a full NFL show, but there is some stuff going down. As reported, the DC of the Chicago Bears has stepped down. I don't know exactly what they're doing over there in Chicago. Obviously, nothing good when you have the FBI raiding your facility. So as we get further details, we can try to update you on that. No one's been harmed, but let's see.
We just got done talking about the Arizona Cardinals a little bit, and we're going to talk about them some more. because on Sunday the New York Giants visited Arizona Cardinals, and this game started off like it was going to be yet another embarrassing L for the New York Football Giants. Quarters of this game, as a New York Giant fan, had me running to break my damn TV because it was so frustrating to watch the Arizona Cardinals go up and down the field and absolutely humiliate the New York Giants the way they did in the first half of this football game, going in the half at 20 with a 20-0 lead. New York Giants went the first 6 quarters of this season without scoring a point. And 2 of those quarters were against the Arizona Cardinals. So let's put that in a perspective. Yet the New York Giants came all the way to life in the second half of this football game and battled all the way back. And as you see, the final score, 131-28. Adam, take it away.
Oh boy! So this game was a tale of two halves. Obviously, the first half was a complete shit show on all facets of the game, especially on defense. But our quarterback couldn't get out of his own way. Our running back was struggling. We were letting this team get sacks on us and interceptions, and it was just a downright putrid performance. Then, like Nomets pointed out a few weeks ago, and I've also alluded to it, the Giants got to make their halftime adjustments, and so you know, first, hold on a minute. Hold on a second there. No Mets, no Jets. If we have the first off, this game should have never been this close in the first place. We should have beat the absolutely piss out of this team. Second half of the game, Brian Daboll makes some adjustments. They go downfield. They open it up a little bit more. And the Cardinals decide to not give the ball to James Conner when they have a chance, even though they go down and score. It felt like in the second half of the game, the Cardinals were like, "Oh shit, we're winning 28-7. Let's pump the brakes here. We want the top pick." You know what I mean? They were just doing dumb things after dumb thing after dumb thing, and of course, they couldn't hold their water on a few of the drives, and they ended up faltering. Give credit to the Giants and Daniel for doing what he needed to do to come back in that game. I will not say this game is a game that we can compete against good teams. I'm not going to go like that. It's a comeback against arguably the worst team in football right now. So let's pump our brakes before we say furious comeback against anybody, because our defense still gives up 27 points a game. Okay, 28 points to an offense that can't get out of its own way. That's back-to-back games. Actually, if you think about it, that's 4 games. The last 4 games the Giants have played dating back to the playoffs, 24, 38, 40, and 28 points on defense. Those are the defense. Our confidence was low from that game. We finally decided to fight. I cannot discredit the comeback. I'm not discrediting the comeback, but I'm just putting – you know what? I'm not going to dive too much into this game and do it. Do whatever you want. You're your own fan. I'm not going to comment on your comment because you know what? I don't have time to do that today. So,
well, let me comment on it real quick for a minute, because I actually do tend to agree with it to an extent, because I think even though it was the Arizona Cardinals, a bad football team, I agree, we should not have been in a hole like this against the Arizona Cardinals. 31 points in 2 quarters of football is still 31 points in 2 quarters of football. It's not likely the Arizona Cardinals, as bad as they are going to play against anybody else this season that's going to score 31 points on them in 2 quarters. That's not very likely. So that's still something to be said about that. You can't. It's like you can't just.
I'm not dismissing
ignore the fact. I know you're not. I'm just saying. But
what I'm saying is, if they play like this against the 49ers, there's no way in hell they're coming back. If they played against the Cowboys, there's no way they're coming back. Okay.
I get that. You can't get into a hole like that against those good teams like that. I agree with. But what I'm saying is, if they play like they did in the second half for 4 quarters against the 49ers, then they definitely got a legit chance to win that football game. I don't
believe they're going to do that. That's just me. I don't believe they're going to do that.
But I'm just saying, if that's the case, and they can go out there and do that, then they have a chance against anybody. If they play like that, they have a chance against anybody. So that's what I think. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets is getting at. I mean, get it, the Arizona Cardinals, but at the end of the day, 31 points in 2 quarters of football is impressive, no matter how you slice it. And I feel like the only reason people are so dismissive of it is it's just, I don't know. Me, I feel like there is a negativity with the New York Giants, and I get it. They haven't proven it against the top quality that
be a quality team.
But at the end of the day, if Patrick Mahomes just led the Chiefs on a 31-point barrage against the Arizona Cardinals, wouldn't nobody be talking about it was just the Arizona Cardinals. They'd just be talking about how great Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are. I mean, that's just a reality, and that's just a fact. 31 points you hang on a team in 2 quarters of football is very damn impressive. Very impressive. And at the end of the day, I agree with everything you said about, like you said, we shouldn't even have been in a hole like that against a team of this quality. But we were. We found ourselves in that hole, and we had to battle back and fight back on the road. So to me, if we can put that kind of effort together, we can compete with the better teams. But we have to show that we can put that effort together consistently and do it. So we got a lot to prove there. And that's where I'm getting at, and I think that's where no net just was somewhat alluding to. I'm not going to be that dismissive of it because we have seen the team.
Yeah, but okay, so now let's flip this. Let's flip it to San Francisco. San Francisco went over there and has played is 2-0. Has now sees the Giants in the comeback because it's all over the place. They're not going to say to themselves, we're going to let that happen to us. If they get out to a lead, because the real problem is not our offense. I told you guys that this would happen. Daniel Jones would have a great game against a team like this, right? He did that. What the real problem is our defense, who can't stop a nosebleed. The fact that we gave him 28 points and had Joshua Dobbs throw 228 yards, got no turnovers and no sacks with this team, that's what's alarming to me. That's why I'm not like, oh, great comeback. No, because we can't stop anybody. The 49ers, they score 30 points a game in both their contests. They are going to go down and score. They have a decent offensive line. Our defense needs to step up in order for us to play like that, because I don't think our offensive line is going to be as strong as it was in the second half as it's going to be against that vaunted 49ers defense. They're going to bring it. There's not, you can't name too many defensive players on the Arizona Cardinals. You can name a few players on that 49ers defense. You know what I mean? I think the Giants saved their season, asked the fire, did what they had to do to win the game. But I'm not going to now puff up my chest when, by the way, I was in Twitter Spaces and looking over, listening to the fan base. And all the fan base was saying is, I'm not worried about the Giants beating the Cardinals. I care less about that. They're going to beat the Cardinals. I want to see them beat like a team like the 49ers. Okay? All that said, right? Then the Giants beat the Cardinals, and now it's like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I don't know who said that. But at the end of the day, I think as far as the offensive line goes, obviously we still are unclear about some of what the offensive line is even going to be. But one thing I want to know for sure, one thing I want to see out there for sure is I want to see that young man again, Marcus McKeithen, because he gave us some productive snaps against the Arizona Cardinals, which was his first career start. And who knows, maybe that guy is a diamond in the rough that we didn't even realize how good he actually was. So he gets a test tomorrow night, and we get to see. He gets a test tomorrow night, and we get to see against a defensive line like the 49ers. The Arizona Cardinals, that might not have been the biggest test, but it was still that young man's first career start, and he went out there and he handled his business, and he looked pretty damn decent. He looked like a competent offensive guard. He damn sure looked better than what we were seeing from Mark Lewinsky, who, by the way, might still be starting on that left side now if Bredeson's not able to go. So,
yes,
we'll see We'll see what happens there, but this offensive line, maybe we got, and Joshua Zudu also played pretty good out there at left tackle. Now I get it, once again, against the Arizona Cardinals, not the same as the 49ers defensive front, but Joshua Zudu also played well out there at left tackle, covering Andrew Thomas. And if Evan Neal can just, if he can just,
One of the defensive ends, first off, Evan Neal had a bad game this week.
I mean, it wasn't great. It damn sure wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible either.
And now you have Nick Bosa, who is probably licking his chops and probably tapping on Steve Wilkes' door like, hey man, can you put me on number 73? Can you do that? Can I switch sides with Arik Armstead? Can I please put me on that side? That's what I'm saying. Plus, there's a lot in this game for me that I'm not going to be one of those guys who says, "Oh, I'm not into moral victories anymore." No moral victories. Go out there and either win the game or get your butt kicked. Right? There's no moral victories to me. I don't want to see, oh well, we're going to play competently and hold up. No, either you win the game and you show us you can play with them, or you don't. Because if we can't dissect a win and say, well, it's against this team and blah blah blah, then you can't just tell me, well, we lost the game, but hey, this guy played well and that guy played well. There's not always silver linings. Go out and beat this team. I don't think it's going to happen for these reasons. One, the 49ers haven't seen their home crowd in since mid-January. Since I think the last game they played was in, let me look at the calendar. I think it was mid-January against the Dallas Cowboys is what they played. They played in the wild card round, and then they played the Dallas Cowboys, right? They haven't played a game since the Dallas Cowboys. Their two first games were on the road at Pittsburgh and on the road at SoFi Stadium with the Rams. So now I will see. I want to see what they're going to do because this team is schemed up very well. They play hard. They score points. The left side of that offensive line for the 49ers has been dominant. If Kayvon Thibodeau wants to show up, this is your chance. The right side hasn't been that good. Azeez Ojulari is not playing. O'Shane Ximines, who barely gets any tackles, is going to be our starters. There's a lot going against this Giant team, and not to mention one of our best players in Saquon Barkley not being there. So it's unfortunate for Barkley not playing because guess what? This is probably your last year with the Giants. They were going to scheme you out of the offense anyways. This is a chance for them to figure that out while he's not here. The Giants have to really, really grit their teeth. That's why that Arizona game was so important. It was the season. If they went into this game 0-2, I think the 49ers, they could have probably scored some points. It might have been a letdown in this game. But the 49ers now know. They're not going to go in here overlooking the Giants. They saw what they did. Furious. Come back. You know what? No Mets, no Jets. Let's address this. Azeez Ojulari is getting on my damn nerves. Okay, I like this guy coming out. I thought he was going to be a good player, but for the first few games, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything in his career, and he's supposedly the best pass rusher. We get mad at Kayvon Thibodeau, rightfully so, because that guy's a top 5 pick. And here's what I want to say about that real quick. People are looking at Kayvon Thibodeau as a top 5 pick. They're putting his draft status in front of him and saying he has expectation levels. We don't do that to everybody. We don't do that to certain players. And I'm just saying this is why when you draft a guy, if Kayvon Thibodeau was drafted in the second or third round or the round that O'Shane Ximines was, I would be like, I don't really care. I don't really care. But he's a 5th overall pick. We are expecting him to make an impact on the game. And so far he's made one impact in one game last year.
Well, to be fair, because I'm assuming you were kind of alluding to our quarterback there a little bit. I know you, my guy. My homie. But I feel you were alluding to the quarterback a little bit. And to be fair, Kayvon Thibodeau has a little more. He has a little less dependent on other people for him to be successful too, to help with his success. I mean, he's point blank period. Get after the passer. You know what I mean? Get out there and get after the goddamn quarterback. That's what we drafted him to do.
Draft status means something.
You know what I mean? It does. I get what you're saying, but he has a little bit more factors. There's a little less factors with him to be able to go out there and be able to just kind of handle his own business, so to speak, as opposed to a quarterback or like a lot of other positions. Yes. You know what I mean? Where they're dependent, where they're a little more dependent on other people. Also, so I think
look. We draft these players. You look at these players. You go through the first round picks. You see everyone say this guy's a top 5 guy. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson. Every week that guy looks like he should have been the first overall pick in the draft. He's playing like it every week. That guy is creating havoc and wrecking havoc.
That's what I'm getting to. Where Kayvon Thibodeau is not
doing shit.
He's not at all. And the point is, what's holding you up? You're a top 5 pick. You picked you number 5 overall. Come in, rush the passer, and you're not getting after it. And then the comments he made, whatever, those comments to me were just like.
What was the comments?
What he was? I can't even remember exactly what he was saying, but he was just kind of like, the fans, we played, and our own fans were booing us, and then all of a sudden, then we start coming back and winning the game, and then they want to be cheering us again, and all this, like whatever he said. Like, dude,
you want to make some enemies real quick? Talk about the fan base.
Dude, get out there and do your damn job. Talking about how the fans are like, how they, ultimately all they can depend on is themselves. Basically kind of saying fuck you to the fans in a sense. You know what I mean? No. So it's like not a good look, man. Not to me, it wasn't a good look. Sometimes you just gotta just say no comment to when those reporters are throwing those questions out there at you, man. I think he really didn't help his case right now.
He better have a big game against San Francisco, because if he does not, If he does not, guess what, KT? Guess what? Your ass will be railroaded all over the city. You better have force. If the Giants lose, fine. But if you don't have 4 sacks or a forced fumble or something to impact the game,
That's
and you're sitting
4 sacks.
I'm just saying, like, do something with your life. I mean, TJ Watt goes out there. You know what round TJ Watt was selected? The first round. He was selected number like 30, 31 overall. The guy's going and had 3 sacks against the 49ers. That's what I expect out of you. Go out there and dominate. Okay? Dominate. You're not doing any of that. You're dominating with your lip service to this team. But that's it. Is Wink Martindale misusing KT? No, KT is misusing Wink Martindale. That's the problem. Wink Martindale went in thinking about having a disruptive pass rush. Think of like a Terrell Suggs type of player, right? And he's not performing. I think what's happening in the NFL, though, is Wink Martindale has just been figured out. Because if you want to talk about misuse, Leonard Williams is being misused. That guy is being misused, okay? He has no impact on the game right now. 2 games, no impact, no sacks, no nothing. This dates back to last year. I hate to say this about Leonard Williams because I like him, and I advocated to re-signing this guy. He had 1 good season with 11.5 sacks, then had 6.5 sacks, and then 2.5 sacks last year. Yes, I know he was injured, but come on, man, make an impact. Make an impact in the game. I know maybe not playing in the preseason. This is what I'm talking about, people not playing in the preseason. Maybe if they played in the preseason, they would have gotten their legs a little bit about them a little faster, and they're not doing what they're doing now, okay? To me, this defense needs to step up big time in order for this Giant team to win. They're not going to be able to hang 31 points on every team. They're not going to be able to do furious comebacks against every team. They're not going to be able to do that. They need to start fast and get opportunities. You know what defense has no turnovers and no sacks after 2 weeks in the NFL? Ding, 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 ding. You guessed it, the New York Football
But
Giants.
that's good you brought that up because that's exactly what needs to happen. And they got to get to turn the ball over. And it's not even to me about the sack so much because it's you got to disrupt the quarterbacks though. You got to speed those clocks up in the quarterbacks' heads. You got to make them. You got to disrupt what they're doing, their flow, man. We're making it too. You said it best on the aftermath the other day after the game Sunday. Joshua Dobbs was sitting back there reading War and Peace, man. It looked like for most of the whole damn game, every time he dropped back for a pass. You can't have quarterbacks being that comfortable because at the end of the day, no matter who the hell they are, these are NFL quarterbacks, and if you give them that kind of time to operate and work, and especially ones that have the offensive weapons the 49ers have, I mean, Brock Purdy is he's proven to be a pretty damn good quarterback anyway, but ones that have the weapons the 49ers have, you got to get after Brock Purdy. You got to force mistakes. You have to.
In order to stay in this game, you got to.
That's the only way it's going to get done. I want to say shout out to Diella, man. Thanks for stopping in, bro. He says K'Mon just looks slow and he's not displaying any kind of power out there on the field. Yeah, K'Mon Thibodeau, man, he's got to show up, like you said.
He's one of the stars of defense. He's a star of defense.
Well, he's supposed to be, but he hasn't been a star on defense. But he's supposed to be, absolutely. And we're going to need him big time in this game. Like you said, he's got to make some plays, show up and show out, man.
Because
no more talking about it.
What's on the docket right now, okay? This team needs to first, besides Kayvon Thibodeau, don't give up 28 points a game. Right now, you're averaging 27 points a game. The Cowboys, they scored 40, but if you take away the 2 turnovers, the return for the touchdown and the interception, that's 27 points our defense gave up, right? The Cardinals gave up. It looked too good in the first half. I'm afraid to see what Brock Purdy is going to do. Yeah, exactly. And not to mention, can we stop the fucking run? We've given up 100 yards to James Conner. We given 100 yards to Tony Pollard. Oh, wait, who's next? Christian McCaffrey. Okay, this defense needs to step up on all facets. Okay, not just rushing the passer, not just 3 plays. You know how many times the Cardinals punted in the game? 3 times. 3, that cannot happen. You need more than that. You cannot have this team. Listen, this is what I'm saying to people. Whether or not the offense is going to be good is irregardless because if we can't stop anybody, it's not going to mean a damn thing because the Giants are going to play Geno Smith in that high-powered offense a week later. Then you have the Buffalo Bills and Miami. The month of October is going to be offense central. If you can't stop anybody right now, this game will be a true test. If they can't stop anybody right now, it's going to be a long season for the New York Giants, regardless of if our team is scoring. Because the Giants are not going to put up 31 points every game. They're not. That was an anomaly. I don't think we'll ever see something like that happen. That didn't happen in the history for the Giants for like almost 50 years. So I can't expect an epic comeback every friggin' time. I can't expect Daniel Jones to be a Hercules effort, especially with this defense get harder. So don't make it harder on yourselves, Giants. Go out there, score some points, and play some good defense. Because the 49ers, one thing they say about Thursday night games is sometimes the body mechanics is off. Maybe they're going to be right for the picking. I'm not picking the Giants to win this game, unfortunately, but you never know what could happen in this game. But if you let this 49er team just score their 30 points, guess what? The game is going to be over. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to have the horses to do it. It's just not going to happen. I don't know how they're going to stop the 49ers, who have played two pretty good games and have scored 30 points on the button both games. You got to figure it out, defense.
This is not NFC East related, but it is NFL breaking news. The Los Angeles Rams have just traded running back Cam Akers to the Minnesota Vikings for a swap of the 2026 draft picks. So there's Cam Akers, man. I know people have been mentioning his name a little bit, trying to see if maybe we could get him over here in New York, possibly pair him up with Barkley a little bit and see what's
Dumb.
going on.
Vikings
but
are dumb.
that is off the tables now because now Cam Akers is a Minnesota Viking. The Rams have sent him to Minnesota.
The Vikings are dumb. You just gave up Dalvin Cook to now trade a draft pick away to get another running back for your team. Stupid.
Well, that's because they learn the errors of their ways.
They could have had Dalvin Cook the whole time.
Well, yeah, exactly. And they thought Alexander Madison was something more than a backup running back, and they're learning that he is what he is, and he's a good backup, but that's what the hell he is. He's not the guy. He shouldn't. And they were thinking that he was going to just be the guy. So they learned through 2 weeks that this is not going to work. Dayola, like you said, we might get lucky if Ayuk can't go, but Juan Jennings has played well filling in for him. That's what I was getting ready to say. The New York Giants really have an issue with stop defending tight ends and got one of the best in the league on Thursday night to try to contain. And I'm not going to lie, I'm keeping him in my fantasy lineup even though he hasn't done anything these first 2 weeks. Because just tight ends against the New York Giants, man, you can pretty much book it, man, and just play them. No matter who it is. It doesn't even have to be a top end tight end. It could be any damn body on anybody's roster. We just don't stop tight ends for whatever reason. They seem to have no interest in doing so, and it's been like that for a long time. Not even just recent history. It's been like that for a long time. Whatever reason, this New York Giant defense, no matter who's the coordinator, no matter what, it just seems to have no interest in stopping tight ends for opposing football teams.
And they're good enough on defense to stop our tight end. Like Fred Warner is one of the best middle linebackers in the league that we probably don't talk about. They've got a lot of DBs back there that can really handle. I know they might have a guy out or two. But this is a team where, if the 49ers play their B game, they can still beat us, right? So the Giants have to come out and play their A game. Their defense has shown you this. Listen, I'm going to say the Giants are not going to all of a sudden generate the pass rush without – because if they don't blitz – if they start to blitz, they might get burned as well. So – it's a catch-22 with the Giants. If you can't get there when you're down 4 and you have to bring more, and they still can't get there, well then, and the 49ers, they like to do those underneath routes, a lot of yak yardage and things like that. They want you to blitz. They kind of entice you to do that. Right now the 49ers apparently are mad at their quarterback because he hadn't hit a few deep passes. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. I think you're gonna see a heavy dose of that left side of the line, giving that thing to McCaffrey. I think if you have him in your fantasy lineup, I think he's going to go over 100 yards. I think he's even going to score a couple touchdowns. I think this is going to be one of those games if the 49ers get up early, they're going to sit in cruise control and then just attack on defense and say, "All right, man, score 31 on us now. Go."
Yeah, you said something interesting just a minute ago, and I believe, and I agree with that. I agree with you 1,000%. You said the 49ers, they could play their B game and still beat the New York Giants. I agree with that 100%, and that's what I was talking about. That's something I wanted to say. Like the New York Giants, they got to go out there, and it's the 2 quarters against Arizona, the second half of that football game. They got to be able to generate that kind of energy, and that only gives them, to me, a chance to beat the 49ers. That still doesn't even give them, to me, a guaranteed victory over the 49ers. That just gives them a chance to beat them if they play like that. So that's how good the Giants got to be to even have a chance to be in this football game to me tomorrow night. And that's it is asking a lot. You know what I mean? It's asking a whole lot from a New York Giants team that's going into this game short week, banged up, best player on offense out, a couple
Best
key
lineman
players,
out.
a couple key players on defense out.
You know,
It's
I'm gonna have
it's
to
just
ask
going to
Evan
be a
Neal.
tough task, man. It's going to
Whoever
be
the
a tough
side
task.
whoever the sideline reporter is before we move on to the next game, whoever the sideline reporter is, I want Al Michaels to ask or Kurt Herbstreit to ask he or she, is Evan Neal wearing a diaper? Because he might shit his pants this week against the pass rush that's coming at him. He can't even, he wasn't that good against Arizona, and that defense is not great. And you have a team right now where I'm hoping he's getting sleep because, man, if I'm the Giants right now, I'm having nightmares on that right side because if you take away, let's say, Darren Waller and have to have him crack back, you're essentially taking away your best offensive player to help out your worst offensive player, and now your offense becomes even worse than it was.
I mean, I feel like what we got to see, man, is like you said, the defense is going to have a tough task against that stopping that 49er offense with everything they're throwing at. With everything they're throwing at us. I mean, we already talked Brock Purdy, competent quarterback, Christian McCaffrey, arguably the best running back in football. Debo Samuel, a top wide receiver. If Brandon Ayuk does play, he's also a very more than competent receiver. George Kittle, still one of the best tight ends in football, and they got a really good offensive line as well
He's
to
starting, I
block all
think.
that up. So 49, I think the Giants offense does have to come out here and kind of take the wheel here. And I think that could potentially, as we saw on Sunday, how do you feel about starting that thing off with Jalen Hyatt and taking some shots with him, man, and seeing if he can kind of bust some things open against his 49er defense, if this O-line can even hold up good enough for
It's
Daniel
gonna,
Jones to get the ball out there to him.
I don't. I think that's going to have to happen. They might have to if I'm the Giants, test them out, try it out. The worst thing is this, right? They did those. Let's be honest, they did those plays because they were down 28-0 or 21-0, whatever it was. They had to do something to flip the field, to get a play to kind of ignite them, and it kind of got them started. The 49ers probably have seen what Jalen Hyatt can do. They're going to need. I don't know how to even explain it because it really comes down to if the offensive line can protect them. Because in the second half they kind of protected better, but also Arizona isn't that good. They weren't that relentless. But when you watch certain guys, Evan Neal played horrible. Now if McKeithen can hold up against like a Javon Hargraves, maybe Daniel can step up, and next thing you know, we're cooking, as they say. But it really you don't wait till you're down 30-7 to say, okay, now we got to open it up. Maybe first play of the game. I mean, I'm not. If I'm the 49ers, I'm not biting because Barkley's not in the game. But try a play action pass, see what happens. Say, hey, we're going to throw it up there and see what. And if the first play is a touchdown, great. If the first play is an interception, well then they're deep down in there. You hope that they're deep down in their end and that your defense can come through, right? But it's going to be loud. It's going to be raucous. It's going to be their first home game, first away game that they play. Try to do something, man. If the Giants, let's say that if the Giants get the ball first, I'm going to put an L on the board because they never do well when they get the ball first. If they get the ball second, I'm going to say that their defense is going to need to stand up because if the 49ers come out in the first drive and go down and score a point and we're chasing points, make a team chase. Don't make us have to come back from 28 down. It's hard to explain because right now I don't think they're going to have much of a chance offensively with a banged up offensive line to really do it. Your best friend is the run game, and your best player is your running back, and he's not even playing. So,
Well, that's brings up the no mess, no nets, no jets here. Please, Kafka, use all three run. I think that's what we're going to have to do in this game. I don't think you can just sit there and think Barkley had like 67 snaps on Sunday. I don't think you can sit there and think you're going to do something like that with Matt Breida. I think you got to really utilize all the guys. You got to see what we got in Eric Gray. Ain't no point in sitting there having him on the sideline with his thumb up his butt. See what you got in him, man. You never know what this dude might come out there and might surprise you. Fourth round pick. The kid has shown in the preseason he's shown an ability to be a little nifty runner. He's not going to be that breakaway doesn't have that big breakaway speed, but he definitely is a north and south guy.
I have a
So who
feeling they're going to
knows?
use Jones more than the
Who knows what
lineman.
happens? Oh, I definitely believe that, and I mean some of that's going to be him just running for his damn life. But at the end of the day, I think you got to really throw all these running backs. I mean, get Gary Brightwell the ball. You've seen what he can do sometimes. You know, when he gets the ball in his hand, he can be a little somewhat dynamic as well. So you got to. I think without Barkley out there, you're going to have to really utilize all the guys. Take like the what the Eagles used to do. You know how the Eagles used to do a year ago, man. You got to use all your weapons, man. You got to throw it all at them, man. Let them figure it out. Because right now, I would assume the 49ers have been getting prepared mostly for Matt Breida for obvious reasons. He's going to be the number one guy
But they
tomorrow
know him
night. But
already.
but at the end of the day, yeah, he used to play for him. I mean, some of those guys are very familiar with him. Anyway, so I think you just got to really I got to give these guys a dose of give them a dose of all three of these guys and let them and mix it up and keep them guessing so they don't really know and try to keep them all catch them off guard because that's the only way you're really gonna have a chance in this football game. Got to hit them with stuff they're not expecting, not the things that they pretty much are looking for, like you forcing the ball to Darren Waller continuously. You got to hit them with something they're not expecting. And I think that'll be a good way to catch them off guard, is throwing all three of those running backs at them, man, and trying to and slowing down whatever pass rush they start to generate and keep
Well,
that slowed down. And hopefully Daniel Jones goes out there and has another day like he did on Sunday. But going to depend on that because now without Barkley in the lineup, Daniel Jones on offense, you have to be the guy and you have to be the absolute reason for this team's success offensively. Without Barkley out there, you don't have that to lean on, and it makes a difference. And
and I don't
it's
want to hear
gonna we'll
excuses
see.
about it. I don't want if the line gives up a sieve. I don't want to hear after the game if they lose. Well, the offensive line didn't hold up a Barkley. No, this is it. This is you have to go out here and play. And the thing about it is, this is why they draft you number 6 overall because you can make things happen. You're supposed to make things happen. Don't stand there like a statue and go. Now, Daniel was very dynamic in this game. Let's see what they do. Again, the 49ers are a smart team. They have athleticism across the board. Let's see what they can do.
We
Wandell.
will
I
see.
want to talk about Wandell Robinson because there's a guy over in Pittsburgh who I say we should have had, and we don't right now. We have Wandell Robinson, but I digress.
Well, we don't know what Wandale Robinson really is because he's been injured.
But
So
we know
we
what
got to get
George
him on the
Pickens
field.
is.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he's been playing. Wandale Robinson got injured on
Beast.
during the best game of his career. Obviously, had a big the day he got injured. He had a big day that day, and who
Why
knows
do
what
we
that
still
would have
have
translated.
Sterling Shepard on the roster? He's a
Who
bum.
knows what that would have translated? He hasn't. Well, I don't. He's there probably more for leadership because he hasn't done anything in the stat sheet these first two games at all. But Wandale also, you never know what he might translate into. I can't close the book on Wandale Robinson because the last image we have of him playing, he had a hell of a game, and he unfortunately got injured in that game. Who knows what that would have translated into had he not gotten injured? We don't know, and we
I
can't.
will put this
I really
statement
don't
out
want
here
to.
right now. If DJ, who hasn't played well against good defense, goes out here and wins this game or plays extremely well and the Giants come up short, maybe I'll get on the bandwagon. Maybe I'll be there. But this is the game that you sign him to be a $140 million quarterback. Go out there and outplay Brock Purdy. If Mr. Irrelevant outplays you, I don't want to hear a damn thing about this guy.
Well, I'm not that worried about Brock Purdy per se necessarily outplaying him. I'm just worried about him going out there and being able to be effective and being effective through all the adversity that's going to be dealing with because the offensive line is what it is. The 49ers pass rush is what it is. So he's going to have to figure out a way to get it done. And I just hope he's able to go out there and do that because right now it's going to be on his shoulders in this game. Obviously, like I said, we can't keep saying it more. We can't just
Right.
keep beating the dead horse.
We'll
Barkley is
find
not
out
going to be
in
running
24
out
hours.
that tunnel tomorrow night. He's not running out the tunnel to play at least anyway. So at the end of the day, we'll see. So who do you got in this one? 49ers, Giants.
I have the 49ers. And don't hate me, people, because I know you do. You hate that
No,
I
I got the
blame you.
49ers too. So I
Oh,
don't
good. Good. You're on the same
realistically see
island
us
with
winning
me.
this
I'm not
football
here
game.
alone.
I don't realistically see us winning this football game. What I want to see us is be competitive against a good team and not go out there and look like the shit show we looked like week one against the Dallas Cowboys and prove that we can go out there and at least compete with better teams. But I don't really expect us to go out there and win this football game tomorrow night. Not if I'm being real with myself. But
They forced Matthew Stafford into 3 turnovers, even though he had 300 yards. So just put that out there. They they force turnovers, and so the only way you're going to make it equal for this team, because DJ is going to be who he is. He may not have the crazy game that he had last week. I don't expect that to him to do that. But if you want him to succeed, defense got to help you out a little bit, because again, if not everything's perfect, but DJ needs things to be perfect, so that means your defense needs to help out a little bit. This team's a juggernaut. They're not going to take us lightly. It's not like we're 0-2. It's not like we just beat the Cardinals and blew the doors off the Cardinals or something like that. They know, they see, and they're coming. And they're at home, and their crowd is going to be raucous. So get up early, silence that crowd. Do not give that extra man. Do not let the stadium hinder you, because I know that's what will happen. Evan Neal will get shit his pants when he can't hear the snap count and shit, because Nick Bosa's having his way with him and shit. So, or Rick Armstead, whoever the fuck is going to be on that side. But I think we've talked enough about the Giants, at least in my eyes. That's my last thing. Oh, we're on the next game.
yeah, Washington Commanders, Denver Broncos, man, another thrilling finish here at this game, man. Broncos went up early on them pretty big as well, like the Cardinals did with the Giants. And Washington battled all the way back. Sam Howell led this team all the way back, man, in the second half of this football game. And the Washington Commanders ended up holding off the Broncos 35-33, even with a spectacular Hail Mary at the end of this game, on the last play of this football game, a Hail Mary touchdown pass from Russell Wilson. Washington Commanders held on. They got the job done. They stopped them on a 2-point conversion, which, in my opinion, was a pass interference. But I can see why referees don't want to call that in that situation. But the Washington Commanders got the win. They're 2-0. What you think, Adam?
I think, first off, I know somebody in the chat last week said Sam Howell's not the guy. Well, the guy just keeps going out and producing. All right, he had 299 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. Okay, no interceptions, didn't turn the ball over. Okay, help them in their fury. If we're praising Daniel Jones and the furious comeback that they had, he helped this team in their comeback. Right. The Broncos, on the other hand, they have a lot of work to do. I thought they were going to be better with Sean Payton, but I think they need to get their sea legs about them as they're learning a new system. But you can't give up a 2-touchdown lead in the NFL. That's just unacceptable. And they did. And kudos to, like we gave kudos to the Giants, kudos to Washington for doing what they need to do to come back in the game. I know it's the Broncos, and it's not that impressive of a win doing it against the Broncos. But hey, if people are gonna praise the Giants and say that the Giants were furious and this propels them into their next game, well, this is good for the Commanders, who sit atop 2-0. 3 teams in the NFC East right now are 2-0.
Yeah, this game here, the Washington Commanders, it was a great total team effort here that they got in this game. I mean, Brian Robinson Jr. had a hell of a game performance. Washington's running back, 87 yards on the ground. Then he had another 42 in receiving. I think he had a couple touchdowns. So Brian Robinson Jr. definitely had a big game out there for the Commanders offense. This Bronco team is better than they were a year ago. Even though they're sitting here 0-2 right now, you can still look at this football team, and they look a lot more competent than they did a season ago. So I can say that they're I think they are a little bit better. They do have some issues, a lot of issues to work out, but they're a better football team than what we watched all season long with them last year. It's just that they haven't been able to put it together and translate that into any W's yet. But I'm pretty sure they will sooner or later, man, because this team is well coached. They are well coached, and they fought back. Even though they gave up the lead, they still fought back at the end. They never did quit and put their tail between their legs like the Cardinals did. They fought back, and still right at the end, they almost got it, man. They still almost forced overtime if they could have got that 2-point conversion. The other says, hey, but Sam Howell did struggle. I guess he was trying to say mightily.
Yes, against them in the same day. I mean, okay, fine. But it was in the rain. They had fumbles. I mean, we can go tit for tat. Daniel Jones is a 5th-year guy. Sam Howell's is first year starting. So I'm sorry if he had some jitters against that team. He bounces back in this game, and we're talking about this game, and he scored some points, and their defense is good. I mean, I know people like to come up and defend Daniel Jones and everything like that. This is not about Daniel Jones. We moved on. That segment already came and passed. It's the Commanders' time right now. And for me, I think Sam Howell, they're saying it right now. Look at some of the headlines that they got. Well, did they misjudge Sam Howell, with Brock Purdy as well? Brock Purdy is Mr. Irrelevant. And Sam Howell was drafted in the same draft. Did they misjudge it? How could the scouts miss this? A lot of things happen. Publicity in the media does play a lot of things in evaluations. Certain players being liked by certain networks and certain teams. Get this, Brock Purdy. If you watched him in college, you would think this guy didn't have it in the NFL. He goes there and he's performing pretty well. It's like Mac Jones last year, right? He's doing pretty well now that he got Bill O'Brien. So you never know what's going to happen. Sam Howell, second game in the league, third game starting. Guess second game this season starting. He's playing all right. He's not doing too badly. You can't say that he's the reason they're losing, and you can also say that he's part of the reason they're winning, right? So we'll see what happens. They're 2-0. Their defense gave up 35 points. We'll see against the Buffalo Bills if they're legit or not, right? If they go out and beat the Buffalo Bills this Sunday and end up 3-0, who knows? Who knows what happens? I mean, this is why you play the games. This is why we see. I think they have a fighting chance with Sam Howell against Buffalo, because Buffalo does like to turn the ball over a lot. Josh Allen, what Josh Allen will you get? Will you get Jekyll or will you get Hyde? Because 1 minute Josh Allen looks like the Hall of Famer that he's building his career into being, and then there's other days where he looks like he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. So, like you said, a win's a win. You got to give credit where credit's due, and it's a good start for the Commanders. For them, I don't remember the last time they were 2-0. And again, this is why the NFC East is so important. These games are going to be important down the stretch, because regardless of what happens in the conference, you might be playing, like the Cowboys are right now the top team in the conference, but they're also tied with the Eagles. That's going to be a great matchup. What if they split? The Commanders are not going to be a gimme game for the Giants this year, right? Now that they have a competent quarterback, there's going to be some competition. So let's see what happens. The Bills, let's see. I'll be a Bills fan this week, rooting for the Bills, hoping that they knock off the Commanders. But the Giants, this is why the Giants need to, start getting on their horse, because a lot of these teams are playing, like the Commanders play. Let's look at their schedule real quick. I think I have it up. Give me 1 second as I look it up. I think they have the Cowboys after the Bills, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going to be on murderer's row as well. So we can't just assume that they're going to win, but we have to give credit where credit's due, man. That's all I'm doing. I'm just giving credit where credit's due. And I know people don't say that I did, but I did praise the quarterback, believe it or not, today. But again, they played the Broncos, who aren't a great team, but they came back and won the football game. And it's more of an indictment on the Broncos than it is a thing of the Commanders. So the Commanders they play the Broncos, they play the Buffalo Bills at 1 p.m., they play the Eagles at 1 p.m. the next week, and then they play the Bears, who we expect them to bounce back and win that game, and then they play the Falcons, and then they play the Giants. So they have two tough games coming up. Then they have some games where who knows what the Falcons are going to be, what record they'll be, and then they have the Chicago Bears on, I think, a Sunday night football game that hopefully that'll be flexed out. Nobody wants to watch that shit show, but this is a chance for them to get recognized. They beat the Buffalo Bills, all bets are off at that point.
So yeah, speaking of the Buffalo Bills, that's an interesting game. Good. This will be the biggest test for Sam Howell to date. This season, this early part of the young season, man. The 2-0 Washington Commanders hosting the Buffalo Bills. This is definitely one of those litmus test type of games to see what this team really, really is made of. Buffalo Bills, one of the better teams in the league as well, can be at least considered one of the better teams in the league. But you're right, they got a bit of a turnover problem. You never know what version of Josh Allen you're going to get. You're going to get the guy that's just going to throw the ball over the yard, or you're going to get the guy that's going to throw the ball to the other team constantly. And Josh Allen has a propensity to do that from time to time, man. So if the Commanders can force those turnovers or force them into those mistakes, you can see results similar to what we saw week 1 with the Buffalo Bills when they played the Jets, man. Zach Wilson played that whole game, and yet they found a way to still get the job done against the Buffalo Bills, largely in part of Josh Allen's turnovers, man. So the Commanders need to get out there and get after it and figure out a way to force those mistakes. And they do have a legitimate shot here, but this is definitely one of those litmus test games for them to see what this team really, truly is made of, as they will be going against one of the league's best.
Well, Chase Young is back. That helps. Montez Sweat is playing well as well, and they still have two of the best D tackles, I believe, in the game. So again, we'll see what happens on Sunday. They're playing in. I think they're playing in Buffalo, so it is going to be one of those games where you're going to need to step up. And this is, as we say, as we say, Daniel needs to step up. So does Sam Howell. If Sam Howell can be the efficient player that he is and navigate some touchdown drives and keep them in the ball game, you never know if the turnovers come back and get them. And oh, they're playing in Washington, so Buffalo's coming to Washington this week. So now you're at home. You have a chance in front of your home crowd to showcase what you can do, and let's see if Sam Howell can be smart. All you have to do is be smart. If the Buffalo Bills, like I said, if the Buffalo Bills do what we think they might do and turn the ball over a ton, you as a Commander fan should be happy because you'll have a chance to beat them. And your team does turn the ball over, get turnovers. They had a couple turnovers in this game as well. They had turnovers in the last game. The only defense that doesn't turn people over is the New York Giants defense. So.
What's going on, Big Simple man? What up, bro? What is going on? I see your boys, the Washington Commanders, sitting at 2-0. They lit right now, bro. See you, man. Go talk to my guy, Big Simple man. Go talk to my guy, Big Simple man, doing big things, man, for the Washington Commanders content community.
Don't tell that to one of our
community,
content
man.
creators. He said he wasn't the guy. I'm just saying.
Sam Howell is him. Sam Howell, I don't know if he's him yet. I'm not gonna go there right yet, but he's playing some pretty decent football, good enough to help the Commanders get out to a 2-0 start of this season, man. So I gotta take my hat off to Sam Howell, man. Give him his props, man. Sam Howell definitely I'll give him his props for right now, man. He's doing some good stuff out there. I mean, considering he's only had 3 starts in the NFL, he's asserting himself pretty well right now. So I give it up to him, man. Y'all playing some pretty good, inspired football, and that defense can come back to life, man. Who knows where y'all gonna be, man? Who knows? Washington right now sneaking up. Like I said, this game right here will tell us a lot about the Washington Commanders this week, and let us know if they're for real, how for real you guys really are.
We'll see, man. I'm not going to discredit Josh Allen if he has a good game and they lose. But if he is the reason they lose the game, then yes, we're going to have to say, hey, I'm not going to say not crown him, but we're going to have to say maybe he's like Brett Favre. I'm not going to take away everything that Brett Favre does because he's a turnover machine. The thing about Josh Allen, here's what Josh Allen does. One game he throws 3 interceptions. The next game goes out and throws 3 touchdowns. He washes out those interceptions. And then that's what he does. So we'll see. He's also played the Jets terribly. I don't expect him to go out and play and have 4 turnovers. But, in this game, you're going to need to force turnovers for them to be close. And let's see. The defense needs to step up. This is where you paid Deron Payne. You paid Jonathan Allen. You got Chase Young. You got Montez Sweat. Go out and get some of those turnovers and make some of manufacture offense like I like to see.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for this game. I do want, obviously, for obvious reasons, I would like to see Buffalo get the job done here for obvious reasons, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens in this game. Like I said, I'm curious to see Sam Howell on this stage here in this game against a team of this caliber, because we haven't really seen. I mean, he did get them in that Dallas game last season. The first game he started, which was the last game of the season, but that game didn't really mean a whole lot for the Dallas Cowboys, so he wasn't getting necessarily the best the Dallas Cowboys had to offer. So this is right here is probably, I would say, this will be the best matchup that he's had to deal with as far as the competition, at least for in his early, young career. So I'm curious to see what we get from Sam Howell, because Buffalo has an okay defense. It's not great, but it's not bad.
Well, it's disruptive. They cause turnovers. They cause turnovers. Leonard Floyd. They have a couple of pass rushers that can get after it a little bit. They don't have Leslie Frazier calling defense anymore, so there won't be I don't think there'll be a complete collapse. But let's just put this out there. With the 2 quarterbacks playing in the NFCs that are on the bottom tier right now, don't let Sam Howell outperform DJ. You can't do it. If that happens, we're going to be we're going to be talking about that for a while. Do not have that happen. This is why I say, Giant fans, Daniel, you have to go out and play well, because a guy like Sam Howell You can't have him outperform you. Don't let him do that. But Sam Howell, if he beats Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, man, you're gonna have to put a little respect on his name. I mean, not a lot. I'm not going to crown him anything like that. But if he goes out, has a solid game, doesn't turn the ball over, they go out and win, and he puts up like 250 yards, and they have like and have a couple touchdowns, and I think this game is going to be won by giving the ball to the running back. Just give the ball to the running back. The Bills don't. They have a running back, but he is the Cook kid. I like him, but he's inconsistent to me. One minute he's world beater, the next minute he's not great. So we'll see.
Yeah. He's been off the halfway decent start there. I mean, got him in fantasy, so he's been, been serviceable.
Like you got everybody in fantasy. You got the whole league.
I'm in like three or four leagues, bro. So I got like a lot of,
and you
they're not
win
all
them
on
all.
one team. It's not.
Exactly. I'm dealing with a champion here, folks. You gotta understand. I thought I knew fantasy football. No. Mac has notes upon notes upon notes. He's doing it as a job. This man is on, his phone, getting these lineups set up. Good for him. So
They're gonna have to play as a unit, a big simple man, for y'all to have a chance in this one. And no mess, no nest, no jet says hopefully DJ changed his mindset a little bit, and he has to be that guy. He does. He has to be the guy we
these are the
saw in the
games you
second half.
beat
See
him.
him all fired up. You got to be like that for four quarters. This is why when I called him an average quarterback a week ago, and this is why I stand by that, because you got to be that guy all the time. I'm not
All the
talking
time.
about his physical tools. He knows he has the physical tools, but you got to go out there, man, and you got to be able to. These guys got to believe in you, man. They got to be fired up, and you got to get fired up. Even when you're losing, you
Right,
got to go
right.
out there and you got to show
Exactly.
some fire, man. That energy, like, look, we're gonna get back in this. I'm not saying go out there and berate or embarrass your guys like that Dallas game. I'm not saying go up and be like embarrass your offensive line and yell at them and whatever, but get them fired. Let them know, man. Like, I believe in you guys still. Like, let them know that you still have trust in them, and they can and they need to have that trust in you. And as long as you all can function and do your job together, we can get this done as a unit. He has to be that guy. He can't be that guy on the sideline when things is going bad. You're just over there with your head down. That's what I don't want to see, man. You got to still be that same dude, as fired up as he was in the second half of that Arizona game, over there dapping everybody up. Energy was through the roof. You got to be that guy for four quarters all the time, no matter what's going on in the game, man. You got to always be that guy. And that's where DJ where my disconnect with him is. It's a lot of the intangible stuff that the top guys seem to do and have, and he just
Well,
I get it. He's a mellow guy and everything, but you gotta let people know that you're the leader, and you're rallying the troops, man, and you gotta get everybody on board with what you're doing, man.
it starts tomorrow night. If he comes out and you can't change it, Tiger doesn't change his stripes. But as we wrap this up, because I know we're talking about the Commanders, you know, you got to start to see that play out. If he because to me, while you say the intangibles, I look at it like this: in his career, he hasn't played well against great defenses, and so far, it's reigned true. Against the Cowboys, he wasn't very good. Against the Commanders, well, as I said last week, if you want to check the tape, I even had the time. I even sent the time code to Mac. If you go back and see, I told you he would be balling out in this game. This game against the Niners, I need to see him ball out. I feel I know where he will lie in this game, but go out and play like you did the second half. Carry it over. Parlay that energy, because the thing that's going to piss me off is you do all this work to come back against this team, and then you have a yeoman's effort, like, oh, we played hard but we lost. No, go out and try to use that momentum to your advantage. I don't think they will. I think I think the buck stops, and you're asking a tall order to go into someone's home building in their first home game that the team hasn't seen. You're asking a lot, especially with a banged up line in there. I'm hoping that he makes it out of the game alive and doesn't get injured, because they're going to size him up. Trust me, that 49 defense, they are not friendly.
I mean, I'm just being on the optimistic side, hoping that the newer pieces, some of the new couple of the new pieces, the young guys, that are being inserted in there can show us that they belong out there amongst our best five. You know what I mean? And go ahead and let's try to
Well,
move
there's a
forward,
reason there
man,
are
because
backups for a reason.
it can't get it can't. Well, there is, but like I said, McKeithen was a backup, and he looked a lot better than what we've seen from Glowinski for all of last year and
Well,
the short
let's
sample
find out how he
little
plays
bit
this
this
game.
year. So, well, like I said, exactly, we're going to find out. But he played well in his first career start last week against the Arizona Cardinals, and I want to see what he can do. And you never know, he might could be that diamond in the rough, man. At the end of the day, he missed all of last season with the knee injury. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And like I said, the young man played well on his first start, and we'll see how he does against this 49er defense. If he can hold up and be that guy that maybe we can plug him in, and then we got our right guard, and then we just keep figuring it out from there. But this O line can't look as bad as it did against the Dallas Cowboys. That just can't happen again, or it's not. We don't even have a chance in this football game. But
Well,
real quick, go back real quick to this. So how you liking this game, Buffalo or the Washington Commanders? Whatever it
I'm
really
gonna
is.
go with, you know what I'm gonna do here, and this is a tease for what Premium Takes is. I'm gonna go with the upset of the week. I know I'm gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna take the Washington Commanders. I just They're at home. I want to see if he can do it. Let's see. I want to be fun.
All right. Yeah, I think Buffalo wins a close one here. I think it'll be
It's
a
gonna be
really
a good
close
game.
game, be entertaining and fun. But I think
Isn't that
Buffalo
one
wins a
o'clock?
close one here, man.
I think they're at the 1 o'clock.
Let's see. Buffalo, Washington. Yeah, it's a 1 o'clock game.
And
Buffalo and
then the
Washington's
Dallas
at
game
one.
is
So
at then the Dallas game's at 4:25. Because people, the good thing about playing on Thursday is you get your Sunday to enjoy and not be stressed out. Tomorrow may not end up well, and you have to sit on that, win or lose 10 days. If you win, 10 days of feeling good. If you lose, 10 days of feeling bad. But you at least get to watch this Sunday. So I'll be tuning in to these games, depending on what they give me in my area. I know the NFL, they like their money, but they don't like to give everybody the game. So hopefully I'll be able to see either Washington or Philadelphia. Ugh.
all right, Koofman Gaming, thanks for stopping in, bro. Tomorrow has to be a game one in the trenches. The defense needs to get pressure on the quarterback and stop the run. Yeah, that's right. I agree with you 1,000%. But that's a whole lot easier said than done, man. Right now, it's given this Giants the current situation with the New York Giants right now. It's a lot easier said than done. Why can't? Uh, and so I don't. I agree. Even though I agree with you 1,000%, I think the Giants are going to have to get a little bit creative because I think winning in the trenches is not really something that's I can even expect this team to do tomorrow. I mean, on either side of the ball, they're going to have to figure out another way around it. And I think that's going to start with, like I said, DJ is going to have. I think they're going to have to get some big plays offensively. Try to figure out a way to manufacture some big plays offensively, like the deep shots to Jalen Hyatt or Slayton or whoever. Just you're gonna have to get. You're gonna have to. I think it's gonna have to be that kind of situation for the New York Giants because otherwise, it'll be a long day. I'm not saying you got to avoid the run or nothing like that. You got to definitely got to hit them with that and keep the defense honest. But I think you got to be real too. At the end of the day, this
Wink
49er front
Martindale versus
on
Kyle Shanahan.
is
That's
is
what
no
could be.
joke. Dealer
Wink
says if
Martindale.
DJ has no, go ahead. Finish what you saying.
I said it's Wink Martindale versus Kyle Shanahan. Basically, I know their defense. I know Steve Wilkes' defense is going to be able to handle and contain the Giants' offense. I don't think they're going to be overly overwhelmed, but the weakness will be what can Kyle Shanahan come up with to scheme that defense. If they let McCaffrey do what he does and get 100 yards and let the play action go, it's going to be a long night for the Giants.
Dealer says if DJ has three defenders in that backfield, 2 seconds after taking the snap, it's going to be a replay of Dallas. But at the same time, any quarterback outside of Vic would have had the same result. I mean, at the end of the day, you're right. Like that can't. That's what that can't happen. They got to figure out a way. That means, 12 a lot of 12 personnel bringing in Bellinger to help out that offensive line. It's gonna take some kind of effort to slow that pass rush down. But like I said, hopefully, like I said, maybe also these young guys can show us something else against even better competition, and we know we got a couple of dogs, couple young studs to plug in on that offensive line and move forward with, man. That's kind of something I'm hoping for, being very, very, very optimistic. But you've seen some strange things in the years of watching NFL football, man. So you never know. And guys come out of nowhere, man. Like I said, Marcus McKeithen was a late round draft pick, but who knows? Like I said, if he could be a diamond in the rough, maybe we got a superstar offensive lineman that we got with a late round pick a year ago. That
Let's
we
just have
didn't
an
get to
average
see.
offensive lineman. Let's not shoot for a superstar. Just give me a compliment.
look.
Hey, pick up a damn
Or whatever. Somebody that can block. Somebody that wants to that shows an invested interest in wanting to block some damn body. That's what I'm looking for. Dayball, better scheme, a good game. I mean, I want to see what I saw in the second half. I want to see Dayball being a little involved with the play calling. I wouldn't leave it all in the hands of Kafka, man, because I feel like Kafka seems to be that stuck in a rut kind of guy that just wants to still do the same thing even though it's not working. Like we saw a lot of against the Dallas Cowboys, and like we saw a lot of in the first half of that game against the Arizona Cardinals, man. Koofman says, I hear you, Mac. Theory and application are two completely different things. And no mess, no nets, no jets. Yeah, you got to be real with yourself. I expect Kyle to win the battle, unfortunately. I mean, honestly, I do too. Like I said earlier, I mean, I want to see us go out there and get the job done, but you got to keep it real, man. I just don't really expect us to be able to. 49ers are a very good football team. The wide receivers are going to have to create some yak off the short passing game. Can they get up the field before those speedy linebackers the Niners can get to them? Yeah, I mean, all those things are all true, man. All that is true, man. He said average equals superstars with what we used to. Also can agree with that. Average would be very, very much like superstar status for us right now. But Adam, you got any final thoughts before we wrap it up and get out of here, buddy?
No, I'm just looking forward to week 3. Thankfully, our game is tomorrow, so I don't have to wait a few more days to watch it. I just have 24 hours, and we'll be watching a football game. So let's see where the chips fall they may, and we'll be back here next year to talk about it again. Next week to talk about it again.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been great, everybody, man. I really appreciate the love, man. You guys in the chat. Holding it down. No mess, no nets, no jets. Always holding it down every week for me. Thanks for popping in, Diella, man. Koofman Gaming. Appreciate you popping in, bro. Big Simple. You know, everybody else, man. I can't get to everybody right now, but everybody else, bro. I appreciate y'all popping in, man. And tuning into another edition of The Real Deal NFC East Roundup. And after y'all leave here, I want y'all still go back to my channel and check out that True Blue preview, which is now available on Mac the Giants Fans channel, man. So appreciate y'all, man, once again. And we'll be back right again next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel, man. This has been The Real Deal NFC East Roundup. And this is me and my guy, Adam Costas, saying,
have a good night.
Peace. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants Fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants Fan. That's MACDA Giants Fan.